Yes, hello. Everyone. Good. We've got our recording going. And welcome everyone to our week 4 of mindful communication and compassion. And let's start today with just a 1 minute meditation or 1 minute of silence where we're focusing on our breath, just coming into our body. So let's just notice how we feel holding this space together, all of us. And we'll start with the sounds of the bell. You can close your eyes if that's comfortable or a fuzzy gaze down. And slowly bring your awareness back to your room and just notice again how you feel after taking a little bit of time for yourself. Just going inward, checking in with yourself. Yes, thank you. I'm going to start today off with talking about compassionate communication. So, compassionate communication. I'd like you to ask yourself, what is your primary relationship with? What's most important? Your primary. So ask yourself, all the relationships in your life are important, but what is the most primary to you? And I'm going to share what um, it's a viewpoint. It doesn't have to be yours, but I'm going to encourage you to look at yourself as being the primary. With my clients, I hold up my fingers. I wrap one finger around the other. It's kind of the finger. This is the symbol typically of good luck or you've got it. So it's like you've got it. It's you to you. It's your relationship with you. And so, how do you talk with yourself? Because you're talking with yourself all the time. There are thoughts going all the time, either supportive talk or neutral or critical talk. Um, and it's good to get in touch with how you are talking with yourself. And lots of times you can notice if it's critical with how you feel in your body. If you're not feeling very well, just ask yourself, what am I thinking about? Am I critical of someone else? Am I being critical of myself? And can I choose something else? Can I have some compassion, some understanding of why I'm being so hard on myself? Um, our culture typically supports kind of critical talk. Like if you stop it, you might get lazy. If you're not hard on yourself, you might get complacent. Believe it or not, our culture kind of supports that. There are lots of cultures that don't, and some cultures that are like ours that support it. A more of competition with others, comparison. So you've got to stay on top. How am I doing? Oh, a little faster, a little harder. So I'm going to encourage you to notice that and to choose and see if there's another way of communicating with yourself. Because how we treat ourselves has a lot to do with how we treat others. If we're picking up that little whip or that whatever and hurting ourselves, so to speak, with our thoughts. And again, it's what you've learned. It's in your home environment, no shame or blame to anyone. but it's what you've learned in home or in school or in our culture. So it's you waking up in a sense to, I have a choice of how I want to talk to myself. I have a choice of how I want to be in relationship to myself. So along with that comes some compassion and forgiveness. Like, hey, self, I'm sorry for being an A+ student on getting all the critical thoughts so good. I got them too good. You know, I just did too well with them. Ooh, I kind of want to like myself more. I don't want to have to feel like I have to, shame myself. So that's a whole big area too. We can go into some other time in our next 6 weeks course on how to befriend ourselves more with that. Um, so listening is crucial to good communication. Listening is crucial. So if you can be in your body and take these lessons that you're learning in these 6 weeks of breathing, coming into your body, noticing how you're feeling, checking in with yourself while you're listening to others so that you can communicate and respond versus reacting. Because I know in myself, when I'm not taking care of myself, I'm not saying, hey, Laurel, what do you need today? Oh, a little more sleep, a little more fresh air, a little more this. I get wound up. And if my mother looks at me cross eyed, I'm going, why are you looking at me that way? And she's like, I'm just looking at you. No, you're looking at me a certain way. So, how we're treating ourselves, how we're taking care of ourselves is going to come out onto others. And again, no shame or blame. It's just an awareness like, oh, a curiosity. Oh, I need to take care of myself. I need to make time for myself. Time. Yes, you do matter. You do deserve your time. Yes, you matter as much as anyone else. And I hold up my fingers, my hands here, not more, not less, equal, equal time. And that's hard to do sometimes, granted, with having children or taking care of elderly parents. It's challenging. I mean, life is challenging. Life isn't easy. It's not, as we all know, as we get older. And it's good for young people to kind of um, know that, yeah, I mean, it, but to talk about it and not to sugarcoat it like, oh, I can stuff it. I can do anything. I mean, it's not good to stuff your feelings. We've got to validate whatever you're feeling. So this kind of little prescription I'm going to share with you is, as difficult as it is, give yourself time, number one. Number two, tune into yourself before listening to someone. Say, am I really present with this person? Or am I doing squirrel brain and not kind of listening? Be honest with yourself. And if it's really important and you do want to listen, just let them know, I'm not in a good space now to really hear you. Um, can we talk about this a little bit later? Because I really want to be present for what you're sharing with me now. But if it's something light and you don't have to be as present, just know that awareness is the key. Just know that. So turning into yourself, getting in touch with yourself, and then listening from a position of empathy. You don't have to agree with a person. You're not going to agree with everyone. That saying, agree to disagree. And trying to see things from their point of view, that empathy, stretching that empathy muscle. Julie talks about, we can stretch that compassion, empathy muscle, and it can grow. It's something we practice and it can grow. And Julie and Heidi, and I know a lot of you can testify to this. You can testify to this. Over the years, it's gotten easier for you. The more you practice it, exactly. So then, and obviously, meditation practice is a great way of bringing you back to the present moment. So bringing you back to the present moment so you can really be with that person you're communicating with. Let me see how our time is doing. I think we're spot on. I'd like to open this up a little bit just for a few minutes. Like, what is this stirring up in you? What are you agreeing with, disagreeing with? Please disagree. Or what's feeling, resonating, what's not resonating? Go ahead. I'm going to be quiet now. I'm looking for chat or a voice.
I've been taking more time for myself. I work nights, evening into night. So I do what I can for a little bit. And then I've been taking naps. I just shut down the world and say, okay, I'm done until I have to go to work.
Sasha, and how is it feeling to do that?
Much better. I'm not feeling as stressed at work because, we got a lot of, I do housekeeping, so they're putting more on us. And
Mm,
um, I'm able to not really worry about how much I have, but getting it done, just taking it moment by moment. So,
beautiful, beautiful, Sasha. Beautiful. I just love that. And it feels good to take care of yourself, doesn't it?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Does it
Yeah.
feel like you matter?
Yeah.
Hip hip.
Yay.
Yay, Sasha. Oh, thank you so much for sharing.
You're welcome.
Oh, yes, yes. Keep it going, guys. In the chat, Martha says, I work in employee relations and I use the term compassionate communication on a daily basis. Compassion and communication are two of WVU medicine standards of behavior, and I blend the two. Wonderful, wonderful. Compassion and communication. And then Tiffany said, I agree with what you're saying. I tend to be more critical of myself, so I'm trying to use more positive affirmations. Beautiful, Tiffany. Yes, and forgive yourself for the harshness. You've learned it. You're trying to unlearn. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, this is good stuff. Somebody else, your voice or a chat?
I'm just going to ask what happens when you don't catch yourself in time and you've started to kind of fall into the habit of berating yourself. How
You'll
that
notice it. Yeah, say that again, Julie.
like you all of a sudden you've gone down the road and you realize you're really berating your, oh my God, I can't believe that, I was so stupid, why did I say that, and you catch yourself in
Oh,
the middle. How do you pull yourself out?
Yeah,
yeah,
I can.
yeah, go
I
ahead,
was
Tiffany.
just gonna say, yeah, I can really spiral with that. And so I have to, like, my sister always tells me, turn your mind, just like focus on something else, reinforce the positive things within those critical areas that I'm just constantly on myself about, like, find, instead of looking at what was negative about what I did, look at the positive effects of what I did. Maybe I felt like I failed or didn't fully complete what I was trying to do, but I may have really helped someone in the moment, or I may have completed the task, even though it wasn't to my satisfaction, or because, again, I just put really ridiculously high and unreasonable standards on myself. There always is the side that where you can see the positive in what you've done, instead of the constant negative and critical. Like you said, just giving yourself a break, and just not, I don't know, beating yourself up all the time.
Yes, 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 yes to everything you said. And we all find our own way. When you wake up to it, like Julie said, you realize, oh my God, I'm what I said and how I'm treating myself. It's to go, okay, look at that. It's okay. I learned it. I learned it well. And I'm trying to forgive myself. I'm trying a new path. I'm trying to be in touch with myself of I'm acting out. Am I acting out of fear? Am I acting out of hunger? Am I acting out of I'm exhausted and I can't take any more? And to recognize that, what am I acting out of? That could be helpful. What do you think of that, Julie?
I'd also say when you're exhausted or hungry, or even when it's in the middle of the night, there's this after midnight hypothesis. The part of your brain that controls your attention and ability to pull yourself out is actually kind of sleeping. and, and so it's actually more difficult to do. So you really do have to pull yourself out with a lot of effort. And if you can, then sometimes maybe you do have to like rely on maybe listening to an audio or something that might, and we're going to provide some some exercises to you, or do an actual activity with somebody leading. Here's what
And
you should
Julie,
do, might
it's
be helpful.
interesting. Just, I wanted to say one more thing, because as you mentioned that, Julie, that's what I've been trying to do. Instead of, sometimes when I wake up or something and I can't sleep and my sleep is interrupted because my brain is going, I'll turn on a device or something like that. And I'm like, don't do that, because then you're really not going to sleep. So I have started to do just what you're saying. And I find, those audio resources where I can still just keep the lights off, keep things dark, and keep something relaxing on or something like that. So it'll be interesting to see what you
It can
suggest.
kind of help, just boost your mood enough to
Yep.
get you into a different topic. And
Yeah. I do that too in the middle of the night, or I focus on my breath. I do an inhale and then do a longer exhale, or I do the 3-part breath, the whole breath, where I feel my belly, my chest, and then I kind of just get into my breath. And sometimes that'll lull me back to sleep. But then sometimes I need someone's voice to lull me back to sleep.
or I'll do the 6 movements of the spine sometimes if I'm have kind of gotten up, just because it feels like
Yeah.
gets me out of a funk.
Yeah.
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 I think, well, Heidi, do you want to say something before I move on?
Just hearing everybody, listening to everybody. Yes. Validating all of that. And this piece I was talking about in a yoga class, it came up that remembering is the practice too. Like a big piece of, Laurel, you shared, it's an awareness, right? We've brought in an awareness now. We want to be a little more aware, and it's that remembering. And so being gentle with ourselves when we remember, when we're in a fury, oh my goodness, I can spiral. Yeah, I relate to what you were sharing too, Tiffany. I can spiral, and and I know that I'm spiraling, but then it's what's one thing right now that I can slowly, gently start to pivot into? Doesn't have to be some grand thing. Tell myself I'm never going to do that again. Because
No.
right? Haha. The next day, the next week, the next month, there it is again. Hi, friend of spiraling. There you are again. But it's again, remembering what strategy might assist you, how you're feeling, remembering to check in with how you're feeling in the moment to then sense what strategy might assist you, or pivot in a way of just being gentle, as Laurel's been saying, being gentle, acknowledging that, oh, hi, there I go again. All right, that's what am I trying to listen to? What is there to listen to about that? And what's one thing I could start to transition into to boost myself, support myself as I continue on moment to moment. Yeah.
Thank you, Heidi. Thank you. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, everyone. This is just great. We could talk for a long time and it would be great. But I'm going to move on to a compassion, meditation on emotions. Just kind of recognizing what you're feeling now, what's coming up for you, and observing that. So we'll do a short meditation on that. So if you wouldn't mind, put aside anything if you're being distracted now while we've been talking, just kind of gently put that aside and either close your eyes or a fuzzy gaze down. And let's take a nice deep cleansing breath. It's a nice deep breath in. Maybe let it go with a sigh or quiet, either one. And when you're ready, just another deep cleansing breath. And if you need another, that's fine. But we'll just go to your normal breathing now, an easy in and easy out. Noticing your breath in your nostrils. Breathing in without holding or forcing in any way. Letting your belly relax and your chest relax. On your next exhalation, allowing your shoulders and jaw to relax a little bit more. And feeling your feet grounded into the earth. Wiggling your toes a bit. Coming into an awareness of your body. Feeling the full weight of your body on what you're sitting. Again, there's nowhere to go, nothing to do. Just being here present in this moment. Let's bring our awareness now to any emotion or feeling that might be present. Any emotion or feeling that might be present. Maybe it's sadness or happy or frustration or irritation or boredom. Whatever you notice is okay. Just notice what's coming up for you, if anything. Just what is this emotion or feeling? What is it? Seeing if you can allow yourself to soften and open to this feeling. Where is this feeling in your body? Maybe there's specific sensations that go with this emotion. Maybe a tingling or a tension somewhere. Maybe a heaviness in the chest. Or perhaps the heartbeat speeds up. Or maybe there's warmth or pressure somewhere. Or maybe just a general sense that permeates the whole body. Just observing what you notice without any judgment. Just seeing what you can notice. Acknowledging what's there and just letting it be. Giving it some space. Now, if you can, seeing if you can hold the whole body in awareness. The breath falling in and out of the body. Now, gently and kindly bring your awareness back to your room, your feet grounded to the floor. And slowly open your eyes, just holding this gentle, soft space for yourself of whatever showed up, whatever visitor showed up. And I'd like to read you just a little poem, a little short poem by Rumi, the Sufi poet Rumi. It's called The Guest House. You can close your eyes if you'd like to listen to this or not. This being human is a guest house. Every morning a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. Thank you for honoring yourself today. And now, Julie, would you like to move on to compassion meditation?
Thank you, Laurel. That was beautiful. A really good contemplation about being friendly and accepting with yourself, especially during meditation. It's like you can make that a real practice. And then it'll start to spill into your everyday life too. When you are doing the meditation practice, you're relaxing and you're stabilizing your mind. And that actually builds up a mental muscle that allows you to do contemplations on things like compassion. And the reason why we would do a meditation on compassion is it's considered a trainable condition. Many people will say, oh, you're either born with it or not. And some people are naturally a little more empathetic. Some maybe aren't as much, but everyone can still build on that skill. And it will help you doing this, what I call smart compassion. You do the meditation first, like Laura just led us, some kind of mindfulness meditation. And now we're going to do a visualization, first of a loved one, thinking of sending compassion to them. And, some people who are religious would like to make that into a prayer, and that would be a way that it could be done, or it can be done as just a general imaginative exercise where you're just imagining sending them what makes them happy and seeing them enjoy that, right? And then we'll do that to other categories, including ourselves. So let's begin with, again, just maybe taking a few, like how Laurel started with kind of a relaxing breath. And then kind of finding that temperature of air in the nostril as we breathe in and out for 3 breaths. And with that stable mind, now we're going to reach out into this imaginative exercise. If at any point it feels uncomfortable for you, or you start to get in kind of I'm going to give a few slides at the end, a kind of state of you feel like it's a little bit too much, just go back to feeling the temperature of breath in the nostrils. And so we'll begin by thinking of a loved one. So think of someone who is not a complicated love-hate relationship, someone that you just think of them and it warms your heart or it makes you kind of smile. Maybe a child or a grandparent, a good friend. And when you have that person vaguely or vividly in your mind, you don't have to be an excellent visualizer, but you have a sense of the person. And it's as if they're in front of you or in your mind's eye. And then think about the specific things that bring that person joy. It's someone that you know that, hey, that person has, a real love of good food, or they love going out with their friends or having a cup of coffee with their, besties. Think specifically of wishing that person the types of things that bring them joy, both on a physical level. It might be, things that bring them comfort, circumstances, doing the hobbies and activities that bring them happiness. If they're into sports or nature. And also the social and emotional time with good friends and family, and being just in general at peace in a spiritual or philosophical way. And as you send this wish for your loved one to be happy in your imagination, that loved one is receiving that and is actually happy as a result. Like picture a memory of them when they were really happy, and that's how they are right now. And it feels good when your loved one is happy, right? You kind of share a sympathetic joy in sharing their happiness. Try to increase that feeling of sympathetic joy and seeing your loved one happy, healthy, enjoying life, relaxed. Bring that to whatever crescendo you can feel, like try to increase it and not worry if you don't feel anything at all. This imaginative exercise does take a little practice. I'm going with my little girl and can picture her just really smiling and happy. And then taking it back to feeling our own breath. Maybe feeling 3 breaths in the nostril, checking the temperature of the breath. But if an emotion comes up, like in Laurel's meditation, being aware of what that emotion is and then returning to the breath. And now we're going to switch to ourselves. And so many people have a hard time wishing our own self happiness. And so if that is the case, you can imagine your loved one and how they love to see you happy. So imagine that you're able to enjoy the things that really bring you joy, whatever hobbies and activities really make you feel kind of joyful and satisfied and enjoying life. Any sort of stresses or burdens are lifted off the shoulders and you're able to relax and enjoy. Whether it's activities on your own, whether it's time with friends and family, that kind of connection that happens with loved ones. Try to increase that feeling as if you were really enjoying those activities. Make that as intense as possible, totally having a lot of gentle compassion that you might not have felt much, or you might actually feel a little bit frustrated, and you can wish yourself ease of that frustration. Connecting with the breath again, maybe just for one breath. And now knowing that everyone here wants their own kind of joys of life. Everyone has people in their world that make them smile, activities, stresses that they, wish were a little bit lighter. So wishing that all of us here are alleviated of some of our stress and enjoying our favorite things about life. That includes those that are watching this in the future, people who are asynchronous. They may be working during the day and they might be watching this later. And then spread to include all of the people in Morgantown, WVU, WVU Medicine, the staff, the patients in the hospital, people who do all sorts of activities that keep these institutions going, keep the city going, fed, entertained, part of our community, whether we know them or not, and wishing them happiness, freedom of stress, health, and social connection. And then spreading to include the whole continent, the whole world, without thinking of anyone in particular, and especially not getting drawn into specific things of the world, just wishing that everyone in the world find a sense of joy, peace, relaxation, and care, and a loving heart. And finally, resting in that feeling of loving kindness without thinking of anyone in particular. Now we want to drop down back into our body and breath. So we'll do 3 breaths and then we're going to go right into Heidi and her breath and body work. So So just feeling our nostril temperature, breath of our nostrils. Noticing if there's any emotion and if it's different than before. And then anchoring back into the breath. Heidi?
Thank you, Julie. Just as you are, right where you are, friends, in your seat, keep coming back in a little more to the quality of your presence. You're seated in your space. We're going to start to gradually build activity in the body as a way to listen to your body, because listening to what the body is saying through feeling tone and emotions, that's something we often have to learn and remember to do, especially when we are in a role of offering our care and services to other as our primary form of work, or if we're just a caregiver for someone in our family. So allowing this time to be an opportunity to turn the listening skills to you. So as you're seated here, starting small, just notice your shoulders and take your shoulders up by your ears and then start to roll them back behind you and around. And at any pace that feels good, take about 4 or 5 circles here. You might notice some localized sensation and feeling tone around the shoulders, the neck, the upper back. Okay. And then after your next roll, release the shoulders a little more away from the ears. Okay. And then invite your left hand to rest over onto the right shoulder. And then your left ear towards the left shoulder. So tilting your head to the left. And the left hand isn't trying to push the right arm. It's a gentleness there, just resting softly on the left shoulder as you release the head to the left. Notice any sensation. And listening isn't just something we do with the ears. Listening is like the feeling tone. How does that feel in the neck? And then pick the head back up to neutral, releasing the left arm. And we'll repeat that on the other side. Right hand can rest very gently onto the left shoulder. Tilt your head to the right. Right ear will get closer to the right shoulder. And notice how we didn't just come in and out of the shape. We want to linger. If we move in too fast, did we really listen? Did we really feel? Did we really notice what the body's communicating? Okay, gentle with one more breath here. And then ease your head back to neutral, both arms resting. Okay. Now with arms by your side, find a breath, and with an inhale, scoop your arms up any amount. Pause while you're at the top with the shape, but let the body breathe. So holding arms up, maybe arms want to be wide, closer together, but in this expansive space, letting the body breathe. Maybe a little more feeling tone is spreading, not just in the neck and shoulders, but you might feel the trunk, the arms, even the legs start to speak to you. And then with your next exhale, let that go, let it be. Great. And then notice how that feels, almost like the relief of, oh, I feel circulation down my arms to fingers. Great. So from a seated position, if you have the space today, come up to a standing position. And finding your mountain pose. So now we're going to be putting together more globally in the body, some bigger shapes. So from mountain pose, landing into your legs and feet, invite your arms out right in front of you. Since we're kind of close to Halloween, we're going to call this like Frankenstein arms. But turn your Frankenstein arms so the palms face up. Right. And then moving into chair pose, we're going to bend the knees, a little weight into your heels as you bend. But here's the trick. Imagine your Frankenstein arms are holding like a tray of cookies or something yummy, not too heavy, nice and light. And don't tilt the heart down and slide your cookies off the tray. Try to keep that tray level, heart and gaze looking forward. Okay. Start to notice any sensation that starts to awaken in the legs, the hips. I'm noticing my ankles talking to me here. If you'd like to spread out the pose a little more, take your Frankenstein arms and now reach them up. And then listen in. How's the body feeling? Finding a place where there's a comfortable challenge. 2 more breaths. And then start to release your arms, bringing them by your side as you stand back into your legs. And then here, I love that quality, not rushing to the next thing, but kind of linger in that juiciness of like, whew, I'm not doing chair pose anymore. That feels quite nice. So now from here, from your chair, I'm going to face you as you step your feet comfortably wide. Moving into a warrior 2 posture, turn your right leg out to the side. Your right toes will face straight over to a side wall or the side room on the right. And then from here, hands on your hips, bend the right knee until your shin is about vertical to the ground or perpendicular. And now notice the legs. Any amount, start to wiggle your left foot back. So I'm wiggling it to the left until I start to feel like, whoop, that feels good. It's a comfortable challenge for me. My body's talking to me. I feel a stretch that I can abide in. I also feel some strength to hold myself up. Listen to how that feels for you. You can keep hands on the hips, anchor the legs. Feel free to sweep your arms out to the side, feeling a reach from center of the body out to the fingers. You could gaze neutral in front of you, or feel free to turn the head and neck any amount to the right. Again, not rushing out. Take 2 more breaths. Listen to what's bubbling up, muscles talking. And then release the hands to your hips and then straighten out the right leg. Easy does it as you pivot your legs. We'll take warrior 2 to the left side, turning your legs, left toes facing the side to the left, bending into that left knee. And again, bending, you can even look at it. Go ahead and look as you listen to how that feels. Your shin about perpendicular to the ground. And then feel free to wiggle that right foot back until you feel that comfortable tension and appropriate tension into the body, creating the shape. Not into an ow or chaos or like, oh my gosh, I'm hurting myself. But just enough for like, my body is working. It's strong. It's holding me up. Reach your arms out. Look to the left if the neck feels good to do so. Stay here for 2 more breaths. Broad through the arms, steady through the legs. And then release the hands to the hips. Straightening your left leg, turning the left foot around. Easy does it as you bring your feet in. Or you could have a little fun hop if you'd like, bringing the feet back together. Right? And then notice after that movement of legs out wide, what is your body saying as you reset your mountain pose, feet back under the hips? Okay. And now taking your right foot. Right foot is going to step forward, right? Your back heel is going to lift for a lunge shape. So bending into your right knee. And for a moment, you can rest your hands on the front thigh, maybe even lean forward a bit. Feel a stretch back through your left heel. And awaken that gently. Again, not trying to create too much strain, but listen to the volume of the stretch and let it be appropriate and comfortable for you today. And now in your lunge, reach your arms out in front of you. Find those Frankenstein arms, turning the palms up, holding that tray of cookies. Letting that tray be level to the earth. And then if it feels okay, start to lift the spine up. Lift your gaze a little more forward instead of leaning. You could even keep going with the arms, stretching the arms high, getting a global sensation and listening. How does the body feel here? Do you want to adapt? And then let the arms be. Bring the arms down, hands to the hips. Left foot can step up with care. And then step your right foot back. And wiggle your way into your lunge, shifting into your feet. Front knee can stack over the foot, reaching into the right heel. Maybe a lean forward, hands on the thigh, so you can focus a little more to how that feels in your back right leg. And then re-greet those Frankenstein arms here. So we're kind of leaning forward, turn the palms up, ground the legs, and then any amount start to lift from the waist to the shoulders to the gaze. Bring yourself a little taller. And then from there, move slowly if you'd like to take those arms all the way up, supporting yourself here. Having the courage to listen, create a shape that feels strong, brave, courageous, and calm simultaneously. There is a bit of calm, right? Let's take those hands down to the hips once more, stepping your way out, finding mountain again. Pause there. How does that feel? Doing something that created a little bit of challenge in the body, maybe a little bit of warmth and heat, toning, strengthening. We access that through the shapes we make. We also access that by helping us when we do our meditations, our breath work, our movement, allowing the mind that remembrance, like, oh, I can do things that push me a little out of my comfort zone. I can also listen when I'm moving into the zone of chaos and bring myself back to the comfortable challenge. Right. From this rested mountain pose, we're going to go back to seated pose for a breathing practice. Or if you just want to stand for a bit because you sit a lot during the day, feel free to stand comfortably in mountain. But for the breathing practice today, find a comfortable seat if you want to sit. We're going to be doing a sounding breath, and some might know it as the humming breath or the bumblebee breath. So it's a sounding breath where you create a humming sound, and it will sound like a very soft, friendly bee buzzing in your ear. And what is great about this breath is it gives you something tangible to listen to. It gives you something tangible to feel, because the vibration of your own bumblebee breath will start some activity, maybe around the throat, the chest. You might notice it through the nose and the sinuses or the back of the throat, right? So it gives you an opportunity to listen, sense, and feel as you journey through this focused breath practice. So to start, as you are, turn your attention to the breath. Nothing to change right now, just to notice. Notice the body breathing, maybe with a smooth, steady rhythm through the nose. And perhaps a thought came into mind of, I can't sing, I can't hum, I don't know how to carry a tune. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter when you're just listening and caring to yourself, allowing yourself to be heard in however the tone and pitch arises today. So when you feel ready, just start to play with a little humming as you exhale. An inhale will come in. And then as you exhale, start to hum. Again, doesn't matter what note that is in, what pitch, high or low. The inhale will begin again naturally, and then play with humming again. And now we're going to take 4 more from a little bit of play and how that sounds. See if these next 4, if you want to change volume a little louder or softer for you. If you want to change how long that hum is exhaled. And then sense a global quality of how this practice is speaking to you as you listen and hum. One more gentle humming breath. Letting that last exhale fade away. Breathing smoothly in and out through the nose. The humming breath can be one that you remember and keep in your back pocket. You might find that it was soothing for you. You might also find that that was strange, that was different. And that's valid too. So listening, sensing, how was this practice today? And now from the Bumble-Bee breath, I'm going to go back to Julie sharing a little bit more. So if your eyes were closed, start to blink them open. If you feel you need to do a few shoulder rolls or a little shift and reset in your seat, take a moment to do so. Thank you, friends, for that practice.
Thank you, Heidi. I know I feel like almost the compassion practice got me a little bit like, I don't know, some days I feel really, really good. And this time I felt a little bit of sadness with it. And this really helped get me back in my body. So I think it's important to balance. But this is just a reminder, this was our original logo that we used to have, that everything we're doing is steps. And everyone is at a different place, and every day you're at a different place. So realizing that, a practice might be relaxation might not be hardly accessible to you on a certain day. You might feel, well, if I let myself relax, I'll get even more stressed or something. So know that all of this is about like taking these little steps. So what we did today with the loving kindness meditation is part of the traditional MBSR, this generative exercise to build up compassion. And I wanted to relate back to last week that it gives us mental agility. There's no way any of us can afford to never feel emotion again, even though emotion can kind of shake us up. We need to be there for our friends, for our family, to even enjoy life, right? And sometimes, there are enriching parts of life that have a mixed feeling to them, right? Well, with the long-term meditators, they could turn off with the strength of their attentional focus. They could actually turn that, strong emotion down, but they could turn it fully back on when they were doing the compassion meditation. So this is their amygdala, which is an emotion region. When they heard the sound of a woman screaming, they really were like, oh, this is terrible. I would love to help her. I feel so much compassion for her. I feel bad. When they were doing the mindful attention exercise, same subject, same sound. No, that's not what I'm listening to right now. So when might that be useful, having this mental agility? Well, there are certain activities that we do that involve very sharp attention. And if we get pulled away by strong emotions, we're not going to be able to do what we need to do if we're, in an emergency situation, or, just need to think quickly. And other times where compassion is really the key, where we have to really be there for someone else. And, having that wall up, if it's numbing, it's not quite the same as just withdrawing our attention temporarily, putting our attention back in emotion. So that's what we're practicing when we go between mindfulness, meditation, and compassion and loving kindness. So Heidi was talking about being in this kind of the comfort growth zone. You had a really great name for it, Heidi. This was a horse riding, which I just started taking these horse riding lessons. So I kind of found this on one of the sites for this. But you want to stretch yourself and keep expanding your horizons, and that means making yourself a little bit uncomfortable. You're not exactly in your comfort zone. You're learning new practices that are stretching your abilities. So when big stressors come, when a person really needs you and you're just like, I need to put empathy into them, even though I know it's going to make me sad, you're able to do it because you've been practicing your attention. You've been practicing compassion in a safe way. And then if you do end up accidentally straying into the panic zone, you have a set of exercise like the Brahmari breath, or the humming breath is the Sanskrit word is Brahmari. And it's been used traditionally for mental stress, anxiety, and controlling blood pressure. And they've seen this in brain data, and they've seen this looking at heart rate and blood pressure, that even just 5 minutes of doing the breath like we did today reduces heart rate, reduces blood pressure, even in normal healthy controls that aren't stressed in the moment. And when we're stressed, even more so, right? And so our home practice today will be, to do some of these longer practices, you'll be set a link to some videos through Anthony. There's a handout on mindful listening from Laurel. You can give those techniques a try, and daily try to find a way to push yourself into that, going backwards here, into the stretch zone or to the growth zone. It's going to feel a little uncomfortable because you're doing these practices, but that attention, building the attention muscle, building your compassion abilities, and being able to turn on relaxation when you need them are all really important skills that are going to benefit you in life. So it's worth being a little bit uncomfortable as we try these exercises. The payout is there. And then you can, try adding a little bit of loving kindness, or try during the day if you have to be with someone who is, suffering in some way, or you experience something in the news, which I know is really, really heavy right now. Just trying to send a little, a warm-hearted wish. You don't have to go way into it. Just may they be well, or saying a quick prayer in your faith. I think that just being able to do something will help your brain not be so overwhelmed. Hey, I sent a little prayer, or I did a little something to help, if it's something in our lives. So I'd like to open up, if we have a few minutes or a minute or two, just to see if there's any questions or experiences people had. Kind of intended to do that a little earlier. Anyone else have either positive or negative, if the compassion was difficult, or if compassion felt good, or if the Brahmani felt like it really helped relax, or if I find that the sound, they've actually even done some research on sinus issues, and knows it even helps with things like that, which is really fascinating.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. A lot of my, I think I've shared in past classes, I was a doula, a birth support person for 10 years, and also taught prenatal yoga for over 10 years. And for a lot of the moms, the majority of the moms, that Bumble-Bee breath was one that they would come back after, after having their baby, going through labor, or those that I assisted as a doula. That breath to them gave them something. Breathing practices are so great during labor and during those kind of physical challenges we meet in life. But they found that, yes, the tangible aspects of it, the way they could feel it, because they're feeling so much through the waves of labor, but it gave them something else to feel. It gave them something else to listen to. And you know, and I find that in myself too. Sometimes I will spontaneously start Bumble-Bee breathing when I am met with an emotion that might be a little tricky, or sometimes I do it also when I'm just out on a walk. I'll start just humming a song, and I know, like, oh, look, it's the Bumblebee breath through a song. So humming a song is a great way to kind of access the benefits that Julie shared too with the science. So. And thank you, everyone. I see some more comments coming through on our chat.
Yes.
There's our after pulse.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh, yeah, witnessing
Yes,
something.
Mm.
You know, and that's again the steps. That's put you at a, you know, if you witness something, you know, either in the news or live in person, that's terrible, you're now at a different baseline. And so what one can expect in terms of your ability to really, you know, that's where doing some of the breathing exercises. Once I was really worked up about something because I took a fall and I have my baby on me, you know, I was really afraid of crushing her. And I could only do the breath work. I did 3-part breath. In fact, I had to physically put my hands on me to, you know, to give myself that feedback. And, you know, and then when I think I got by myself, I did the humming breath. That's when, you know, when you're in panic zone, then the focus would be more about getting into just getting your baseline down.
Yeah.
And knowing that it's going to probably pop back up again for a little while on and off until it gets back.
Yeah. 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 It takes a while to regulate again when you have vicarious trauma like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we want to honor your time. We're here a few more minutes if you'd like to share.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you all for coming. Next week, we'll be discussing mindfulness and resiliency. And
Yes, and I won't be here next week. I am presenting actually at the exact same time, almost medical about for use in medical education. You know, preparing future physicians with tools to, you know, have this kind of toolbox of mind-body skills. You know,
wonderful. But we'll have Julie on video.
I will be on video.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'll be an animatron. No, just kidding. An artificial intelligent created version. No, just kidding.
Oh, well, everyone have a wonderful week. Practice
Thank you,
being
everyone.
kind to yourself.